Hey guys, in today's video, we're going to talk about the two most important factors to hitting your driver farther. All right guys, Eric here at the Bethlehem Golf Club. I want to talk to you today about the two most important factors to hitting your driver farther. Now, before we dive into that, I want to talk to you today a little bit about live view. Now, hopefully some of you guys have seen our previous videos or have seen live view before. Live view is our favorite form of feedback. You hear me say all the time, you guys need feedback. You need to see your own swing when you're practicing, and the best way to do that is to see yourself simultaneously as you are practicing. The best way to do that is with live view. So with live view, you can actually set it up either behind you or from face on, connect it to a phone and see yourself actually swinging as you are swinging. The best form of feedback that we have found thus far. We love it. We know you'll love it as well. If you're interested in getting better and giving yourself feedback, which you should, click on the link we'll put in the description down below. You can learn more about the live view. Now let's talk about the two things for you to hit your driver farther. Now, in-person lessons that I give or online lessons or in CogornoGolf.com, a lot of the same things come up when we're talking about driver distance. And so stock kind of big picture driver distance, the things we're talking about improving generally are solidness of contact, part number one, right? That is hitting the ball more in the middle of the face, obviously will help. We have angle of attack, which would be part number two. And then we have speed, which is part number three. So those are kind of usually the big three. Hitting the ball more solid, increasing your angle of attack, that is hitting more up, or increasing speed. Now, of those three, usually hitting the ball more in the middle of the face can generally be the easiest if you figure out what you need to do in your swing mechanically to do that. But then the number two out of those last two, angle of attack or speed, generating more speed usually requires more work, whereas increasing angle of attack or hitting more up, generally speaking, doesn't require as much work. So that's kind of what I want to focus on here first, is more towards, hey, let's hit more up on the ball. Let's hit the ball in the middle of the face to gain distance, not as much of the speed. Some of you guys probably know, but maybe not all of you, that there is a one-to-one correlation with angle of attack. And what that is relative to your club head speed, more or less, the more you hit down on the ball, the shorter the ball is going to go. And then the opposite of that would hold true, which is the more you would hit up on the ball, the farther the ball is going to go. Again, assuming nothing else changes, solidness of contact, etc., you want to hit more up on the ball and more in the middle of the face. How do we do that? Well, in terms of the golf swing, there's three different segments, right? There's how you set up to the ball, there is the backswing, and there is kind of the downswing, right? And each one of those has important pieces that will help dictate whether you can do this or not. I have two of them that I think are the most important. Let's kind of semi-assume you have a good setup and go through some stock pieces. Let's say with the driver, we want the ball position to be somewhere inside of left heel, or really more specifically somewhere near the lead armpit, kind of between the shirt logo and the shoulder would be ideal. Obviously, the more the ball position is back or forward is going to help dictate part of the angle of attack. We'd like to have the ball position slightly forward to help hit up on it. I'd like to see the width of the feet a little bit wider than the shoulders. That also is going to help our cause rather than us being somewhere super close. So feet a little bit wider, and then there should be some level of tilt with the driver, maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 degrees with your driver, or you should have a little bit of side bend at address. When you take your setup, you'd like to have your right shoulder a little bit closer to your right hip without having your left hip bump forward. So those would be the three big setup pieces: ball position forward, feet wide, right shoulder a little bit lower to create some tilt. Now from there, if we assume we have those, the most important backswing piece to me is turn. Okay, so the bigger the body turn we can get during the backswing of everything, hip turn, shoulder turn, the bigger I can get my body turn behind the ball, creates the best opportunity for me to hit up. Now when I say big turn behind, guys, I don't mean a backswing where you move off the ball like this, okay? I'm looking for still a reasonably centered backswing, maybe a slight shift off the ball, definitely shifting pressure into the right foot, but my body more or less is pretty centered. If I took my normal setup and drew the line up the ball kind of in front of my left ear, yeah, I'm more or less staying there on the way back. But I'd rather, if I had to choose you moving slightly off the ball if it allows you to get more turn than staying on the ball with less turn. To me, more turn gives you the biggest opportunity to hit it farther. Why is that? Number one, when you turn more, you can get the butt of the club traveling a lot farther. If I make a backswing turn and I only turn 60 degrees, here's my normal backswing distance, how far the butt of the club goes. Now, if I turn a full 90, now that butt of the club is able to travel a lot farther. So more backswing turn means longer backswing length. Longer backswing length means more potential time to create speed. We just said earlier, speed being one of the 3 big things to hit it farther. Now again, little caveat, if you go longer and that starts to diminish your contact, of course you have to find a middle ground, but bigger turn on the backswing will help speed. The other thing bigger turn does, and then we'll talk about a drill, is the more I turn back, the deeper I can get my arms, hands, and club. Now, me being able to get them deeper on the way back has a lot of benefits. Primarily, easier for me to swing and have my swing direction a little bit more from the inside, lower and from the inside. That helps me hit up on the ball and find centered contact. So if I were to make a backswing where I didn't turn a lot and didn't get a lot of depth versus one where I did, I would expect swing number 2, because I've seen it a million times, produce much more distance. So that's kind of the first thing I want you to think about. Get a good setup, ball position forward, feet width, little tilt, and then a big backswing turn with some nice steps would be part number 1. Let's talk about a drill to give you so you can feel what that feels like. Okay, the best drill and my kind of favorite drill that I like for backswing turn is a pretty simple one. I just have an alignment rod or driveway mark on the ground and my driver. Now I put this driveway mark on the ground. You could just use another club, just inside my right heel. Now I'm gonna take this club and I'm gonna put it across my shoulders. Now my goal for my turn from here is to get this club on my shoulders at least over and past this club on the ground, which is to serve as a 90-degree shoulder turn indicator. So inside my right heel, over my shoulders, get this turned where the butt of the club for you is behind by quite a bit. I'd rather you overdo this, not underdo this, even get like 110 degrees on the way back and see how that feels. For a lot of you, it's gonna have to feel like your chest and you kind of get off the ball a little bit more during your backswing, maybe even move off of it a little bit with your upper body to create that turn. And what I do with any of these drills is do a couple with this to feel it, maybe with a mirror for feedback, and then go ahead and pop the club in and try the same sort of feel, and then do that with a video, right? See if that actually changes. So if I take that feel, I did 1 or 2 little rehearsals, and then I go ahead and I try and hit one with the same feels here. And that, for me, feels good. It feels like a full turn during my backswing. Like I'm able to get the club deep enough to create more speed and shallow out my angle of attack. Let's go ahead and do one more. So I'll take my normal setup, have that inside my right thigh, 1 or 2 little feels, letting my chest move off the ball a little bit to create it if I need to. I take my normal setup, and I'm trying to recreate those feels with my driver. And again, those 2 feel really good with my turn. Now, that's kind of the backswing part. If I wanted to set myself up to create the most amount of speed, I would have those setup pieces and I'd have turn during the backswing. That is priority number 1. Meaning without enough turn, the rest of the stuff becomes very, very difficult. Can you do it? Of course you can. But you look at guys and gals that hit the ball far, a lot of them nice, full, big backswing turns allows enough depth to be able to do the downswing movements. Now, let's talk a little bit during the downswing about the one key piece to help increase that angle of attack. Okay, so during the downswing to help increase the angle of attack or hit more up on the driver to hit it farther, there's really one key point that you should focus on, and that is where your head is in space. And what I mean, if you watch guys from or gals from face on, how far forward towards the target or away from the target their head is during their downswing will have the biggest influence on angle of attack. So if I took my normal setup and I went down during my downswing and my head and body moved way forward, would that make me hit more down on the ball or more up on the ball? What about if I made a nice full swing here, stayed centered, started my downswing and then actually backed up a little bit from there? Which one of those 2 would help me hit more up? Well, the more the head is back, the easier it is to hit up on the ball. The more the head is forward, the more you hit down on the ball. How much should you go forward or back? Well, your feels are going to be relative to whatever produces the best movement. If you look at good drivers in a video we did a couple weeks ago, up to the top, they stay pretty centered, move a little off of it. They recenter early, and a lot of really good long drivers actually from about halfway down start to back up a little bit. Their head goes back as they're turning. So where your head goes will help dictate how far you hit it. That is, your head being more back in the early downswing phases, of course that's relative to where you currently are, will help you hit more up on it. So in a super simple sense, if you can get a bigger turn, let your chest move off of it, get a little deeper, and stay back during the transition, that gives you the best chance for farther drives. Bigger turn back, keep your head behind it. Bigger turn back, keep your head behind it. Now, how your head moves, does it go forward or back, is primarily dictated by side bend, okay? And specifically right side bend during your downswing. Right side bend is your right shoulder getting closer to your right hip. Notice as I do that, my head goes back, okay? So during my downswing, I want to add right side bend. If I'm up to the top, I want to make my right shoulder and right hip get closer together, but do I want to just do that? No. I want to have right side bend as I'm turning, okay? Which again for you could be as simple as keep your head behind the ball. So for me, let's hit the ball really far off the tee. Ball position forward, feet wide, little tilt. Big turn in depth, keep my head behind it, little right side crunch as I'm turning through. That would be how you maximize the current pattern. Let's go ahead and give that a try. Ball position forward, feet wide, little tilt. Big turn in depth, keep my head behind it. And that would be how I would hit the ball as far as possible. Now again, all of this information, everyone's pattern is different. This is all relative to your current pattern. So if you currently during your downswing go way forward, then you probably need to feel way behind it. If you currently during your downswing go way behind it, you might need to even feel a little bit forward. If you already have a huge turn, then you're probably good at that. You have to watch the videos, see what you currently have and adjust. But the two key points I wanted to make here, I'm going to say one more time. For you to hit it as far as you can, backswing turn is huge, okay? I'd rather depth, that's optional, but backswing turn is huge. And then keeping your head behind it as you turn. Don't even take my word for it. Look at the best drivers in the ball. Watch how much they turn on the backswing. Watch where their head goes in space. That gives you the best chance to maximize distance. Supplement that with whatever you're currently working on. That should give you great driving. Hey guys, thanks for watching today's video. If you liked the video, please do us a favor, click the like button down below. Click the notification bell. Also, please subscribe if you haven't. Another reminder, every Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are live here on YouTube for Rapid Fire Golf. We'd love to see you guys there with your questions. Thanks, guys.